Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
And welcome back to another episode of Business Innovators Radio. I am your host, Marco Salinas, and I have a very special guest joining me today. Her name is Miss Madeleine Nerio, and Madeleine is with Mad Media LLC, based here in San Antonio, Texas. And Madeleine helps small business owners and medium-sized business owners and big-sized business owners to improve their advertising, improve their marketing through different media and different channels, digital channels and things that are out there. And we're going to have a conversation with her today. We're going to learn a little bit more about her, how she got into this business, what her journey looks like, and then we're going to give her the chance to tell us a little bit more about what she's doing today for other business owners. Madeleine, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So I'm going to dive right into this. I've got some questions lined up. I'm excited because I love to learn about other business owners. You and I, we had a great meeting recently, and we were able to kind of learn a little bit more about each other and about each other's businesses. And I, for one, personally, I was super impressed with everything that you've accomplished thus far. You're very young. You've accomplished a lot of this in a very short period of time at a very young age. And I think we could both agree there's still so much more for you to just, take on. I mean, you're just barely getting started here. So based on that, though, with that in mind, tell me a little bit about your kind of early beginnings with all of this stuff. Did you feel like you had sort of, for lack of a better term, a entrepreneurial gene in your DNA? Was this something that was presented to you by someone? Like, what really sparked your desire to be a small business owner and to be an entrepreneur? Let's start with that.
So I always had a hard-working mindset. But entrepreneurial one, no. I thought I was honestly going to get a government job somewhere in the capital, either the Texas capital or the Washington state capital. And how I got started with marketing, honestly, was I was doing the political grassroots services that I enjoyed and I had a degree in, and then COVID hit. And our politicians who got the message out with block walking and petitions and working the polls and door knocking and all of that stuff, all that in person, like all of the volunteer coordinating that I specialized in, it all completely shut down. So it's like a matter of like, how can we get the message out if everybody's at home? And the solution to that was getting on their mobile phone and their feed and creating YouTube channels and websites and video. And so everything kind of segued politically wise with getting the message out there for our political candidates and getting it online. And so then that segued into doing that same thing for small businesses. So it really was a birth out of COVID and just happened naturally like that. But it certainly wasn't planned, and it wasn't one of those like I read a handbook and decided to do it. It was one of those necessities, like, okay, what's the solution right now?
Yeah. So it was kind of a back against the wall almost scenario that just said, you know what, I've got to do something, and these are my options, and I kind of like this pathway here. I think I'm going to try to kind of build something on my own. Is that kind of how that went down?
So yeah, I worked at another marketing company. It was, and this is all going to be edited so that it'll look good, right?
Of course. Of course.
So,
we share what you want to.
Sure.
Yeah, you can be.
So I was engaged. I was engaged to an ex-fiance of mine, and he had a marketing company.
Okay.
And so when I graduated college, we were working in tandem.
Sure.
And then he introduced me to a lot of the entrepreneurial mindset, and it was something I found really, really attractive. This is way more my mindset.
Yeah.
It's not being an entrepreneur. To him and his circle was freedom, and that was the freedom that I'd always been searching for, but was never introduced to.
Sure.
So that ex-fiance of mine introduced me to the entrepreneurial lifestyle, and it was one of those things. It's like once you adopt it, you can't go back.
Right. Right. 100%. So you got something good out of that relationship. That's great. At least you're able to take that and run with it. And I would say you've done a lot with that information. So that's huge.
It was one of those. He was a big follower of Grant Cardone.
Okay.
And then when we started dating, he handed me the which book was it? It was the Be Obsessed or Be Average.
Okay. Yeah.
And that book literally changed my life.
Yeah. Yeah. I know the one.
Literally changed. So I owe a lot of how I think and what I do to Grant Cardone in that book.
Sure.
A lot of my mindset of what I think if I get discouraged or, it's hard to get out of bed sometimes being an entrepreneur. I remember those lessons that were in that book. So once you learn about those things and you realize, oh, this is what I've been searching for.
Yeah. Yeah. You make a great point though. This world that we are in is definitely not for the weak of heart, right? It can be very demanding. It can be very grueling at times. It has like tremendous upside potential, right? I mean, the reward potential is colossal, but you've got to be able to, live through all those setbacks and all the difficulties and it seems like every day.
Very unforgiving.
Say it again.
Very unforgiving.
Yes.
It's very unforgiving.
Correct. I agree. Mm-hmm. I agree.
It was something that I experienced as a political advisor as well. A lot of politicians who thought that were their friends or people who pledged a certain amount to donate, when it actually came down to running and fundraising and voting, their friends weren't there.
Sure.
I had one candidate who was friends with everybody on her block, was friends with everybody in her church, was a volunteer at her kids' schools, was friends with all of the parents there. And then when it came to volunteer day, she had 2 people show up to volunteer for her. And she thought it was going to be like 100, 200 people showing up just to show up and support her.
Yeah.
And when it came down to it, so we had a venue for 200 people, 2 people showed up. So that's how it is with small businesses. It's like you think you're going to get support, and then when it actually comes down to it, you have to rely on you, and that's it.
That's right. Very true, Madeleine. Really appreciate you sharing that. Now, did you ever, so you worked for this other marketing agency,
mm-hmm.
but prior to that, did you have any other jobs? Like, did you work a 9-to-5 job?
So I actually never worked a 9-to-5. I was homeschooled growing up, and I worked a lot of internships and I did a lot of volunteer work. So I worked in offices, but it wasn't something I had to clock in and clock out. And then excuse me. And then I went to college, and during college worked internships again, but it wasn't like a job.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got out of college, graduated, it was straight into politics, and then from politics to marketing. So I actually never had an actual job. It was, like I said, I always did work, but it wasn't something I ever clocked into. And and again, like since I've been doing this, I can't imagine having a regular 9-to-5.
Yeah, I was going to say, lucky you that you didn't have to step into that world. I think the only benefit that I got from being in that world was that I use that sometimes to remind me of how much I don't want to go back. If I have, you know what I mean? If I have those difficult days, you know what I mean? And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this self-employed stuff. I'm going to throw in the towel. And then I start thinking about the 9-to-5 world. I'm like, this ain't so bad. I'll stick it out.
This is actually not that bad.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's one of those, like, you don't work a 9-to-5. Now you work 24/7.
Correct. That's right. That's exactly right. Now, on that note, Madeleine, can you share with me what it sounds like you did transition into being, being your own boss with your Mad Media LLC company, it sounds like maybe that was kind of a quick transition. Was it? Did that kind of just come about relatively fast? And can you talk to me a little bit about what the early, maybe just tell me like, what was your first year like? I'm sure it was very, very challenging. Is there anything from that first year that you can share that really kind of stands out to you? Even if it's just like, man, the first year was just absolutely brutal. Like, I mean, entrepreneurs really resonate with that. What can you share about the first year?
So we can gotta collect myself here.
No problem. No problem. Totally understand.
The ex that I had was very inspiring, but it was also pretty abusive.
I see.
So it became one of those, if you don't make enough sales, you can't eat.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Maybe you don't have to include that in the podcast.
Golly. What did we do? Maybe we should. Maybe things need to be better.
I was really thin. I had to learn how to make sales.
Gotcha. Wow.
So it was
not the healthiest work environment, to say the least. Yeah.
So it was a pretty isolated situation, pretty isolating situation. It was basically perform a certain way to because I had a partnership with who I thought I was going to marry.
Sure. Which can be really good or it can be really bad. I mean, those type of setups can be one extreme or the other.
Yeah. So it was.
But it sounded like it was something that you had to realize, like, I'm going to have to get out of this.
Yes. Yeah. So eventually I called the police. Eventually it got
so that bad.
Physical.
Got you.
It got so physical where I finally called the police and they took pictures and I left.
Yeah.
And so but that whole time I was running the company. That first year, the year that starting the business, excuse me, I was very much, I learned a lot, but it was very much based on I will support you, and like with my ex, it was I'll get us to where we need to go, but you need to do your part.
Sure.
And I just had to figure out how that would work.
Sure.
And I wanted to accomplish things too, because like I said, Grant Cardone introduced the idea that you create your own limits.
You're right.
So it made sense. We went really deep, really fast. It's really hard to talk about sometimes. But that's honestly...
I appreciate you. I really honestly appreciate you. And that's when we're doing the backstory, sometimes some really deep stuff comes out, and again, this is part of our journey. It's not all roses, right?
No. So, it was an abusive situation, but it was also very an inspiring situation because I was able to see what good I could do for other business owners.
Yeah. So are you telling me though that once you parted ways with this individual that you took over, you basically said, I'm keeping this business and I'm going to go ahead and proceed forward with it? Or did you actually start?
So what happened was when I left, I thought everything was over. When, the main incident happened, the one where I was like, I'm going to call the police. I'm going to stand up for myself today. I moved in with a friend and I told her, I was like, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to, figure out how things will work. And then I got a call from a former employee of mine with the old company saying, hey, we all quit today. We heard about what happened and we were only there because you were there. And then a couple hours after that, the former clients that I had also called, said, hey, the camera guys, graphic designers, everybody, kind of let us know what happened. We're just letting you know that we're not working with him anymore. And so if are you going to start your own thing? Because I still need your services.
There you go.
And so in my head, this was all within a span of 24 hours.
God.
I was like, okay, I have the employees and I have the clientele, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and do this.
Yes.
And with my first sale for myself, I bought the LLC, I bought the business insurance, I did everything right. And then we've just been growing from there.
Wow. That is really amazing. Really amazing. God.
Not many people know about that. And it's not the best rosy story, but
it's the true story though, Madeleine. It's what really went down. And it still says a lot about you because you had to endure a lot. You had to put up with a whole lot of crap behind the scenes. In reality, you were the one that was really running the thing. You just weren't getting credit for it. But once that tide kind of turned, once those sands kind of turned the opposite direction, everybody knew what was going on. And then all the truth came to light and they were like, this is our girl right here. She's really the one running this thing. And so, I mean, I think the response from your fellow employees as well as your clients is pretty much speaks volumes, right? That's really what that's all about. These people, they stuck with you. They saw the real, where the real value was in that equation. And I think that says it all. That really, really, really says it all. So we've established that first year was like, wow. Now, what did that, let's say that year after you were fully on your own, what did that year look like? Because obviously you've been taking on new clients. You've been growing tremendously. Maybe you can tell me about that. And then let's just segue that into, tell me exactly what Mad Media LLC does. What are you guys all about? And who are you helping?
Yeah, for sure. So when I was with the old company, a lot of it was, professional video, digital marketing in that sense. It was content, things people needed. But what my team and I realized was that these influencers started popping up, especially during COVID, doing really dumb things, getting way more attention and sponsorships from people that our clients wanted to get sponsorships from. And it was these TikTok videos shot on the phone, super simple. And here, our team is able to, produce really high quality video and it gets like 10 views, 20 views. We put 20 hours into one video, hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars worth of marketing dollars into one video and it gets 20 views. And then this girl who makes like a 5-10 second, kind of dumb video,
right,
gets way more return for that. So as soon as I started my company, I was like, we're going to do those. We will.
we're just doing purely dumb videos here.
We're just going to do dumb videos too. And we'll make it a little bit better, but there's still going to be. So one of the things I tell everybody with Mad Media is we make silly videos, but not stupid videos.
There you go.
So one of the things that we do is we're really good about getting attention for clients while making it still classy, but at the same time making it silly enough that people want to watch it.
Yeah.
Because you'll see a whole bunch of videos, like especially attorneys, like to this day, even some realtors, every now and then they'll just stare at the camera, look straight at it, and then talk for 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And just very monotone, nothing else going on.
Yep.
We have 4-second videos that have had 12 million hits in a week. So
crazy.
That first year when I started, it was figuring out how TikTok works and how to make videos for professionals that were silly but not stupid.
Sure.
So kind of back into what we offer is some clients are really not comfortable on camera, and that's one of the things that we can't edit. There is no filter for making somebody less awkward, or if you hate doing it, it's going to show up on your face. There's no filter to fix that.
Right.
If you look uncomfortable, there's no make him look comfortable filter. they're going to look uncomfortable. So we provide training on how to be comfortable on camera if you want. And then if you really don't even want that, we have models also.
I see.
That will represent your company, give you full rights to use the video. And that way our clients don't have to be on video and worry about that. So we'll make viral videos for the company, whether you're in it or not. So that's what we provide solutions for, because everybody sees those, quote unquote, stupid videos that do really well. And so we help bring that to the entrepreneur. So back into how we started that first year, it was really trial and error. It was like, okay, this is what everybody wants, and it's also what's working. So we're actually going to ditch all of our really expensive equipment, and we're going to buy a bunch of phones. So I just bought a whole bunch of the best cell phones.
Yeah.
And we, experimented with different things. And so I wouldn't say we have it down, but we have it pretty close to what scripts work, what works for different industries, what hashtags to use, what times of day to post. So that's what we provide. And then we're here to be a solution for small business owners, because not everybody wants to hire a marketing agency. A lot of companies take advantage of desperate businesses because there aren't too many to choose from that are local and will come and film you. So, there's just a lot of scammy businesses out there. So some people are like, no, I don't want you to run any of my social media. I just want you to show me how. So we developed training packages also.
Okay.
And that's totally okay. We'll show you how to do it, and you can just do it yourself. So if we can do it or show you how to do it. So
yeah. So you're telling me that even with the videos that are kind of wacky and silly, there really is behind the scenes, there's still a formula to it.
There is.
Right.
And what I always tell everybody, and this is one of the things that I told also my political candidates, whenever you have a message, there has to be, it's as simple as having a beginning, a middle, and an end.
Yeah.
If you have those three components, sounds super simple, but so long as you have those three components, there's a clear beginning, a clear middle, and a clear end, you're going to be good.
Sure.
Now, but yeah, with those silly TikToks that are, 3 or 4 seconds long, we can have hours of work go into those 3 seconds still.
Sure. Absolutely. There's a whole lot of things going on behind the scenes that you don't see or realize, that just to produce a short little clip, right? Yeah. And that's where y'all knowledge comes in and experience.
Yes. So there's probably 30 different components that go into one simple video. We have to, especially with our attorney and professionals clients.
Yeah.
You have to make sure they have the right outfit or uniform for the video. You have to make sure everybody's ready with their makeup.
Yep.
That they know what to expect.
Yeah.
You have the mics, the lights, so they're TikToks and they're silly, and a lot of people think they're simpler because it's on a cell phone, but we still have the whole light setup, the microphone setup. We still have to put in the color editing, put in the captions, put in the text. So there's a lot more components to it than just it being a simpler, like, oh, it's on the phone.
Right.
And that's one of the things that we teach. But yeah, there's a lot of different things that we have to take into account to make sure that
for sure
we're hitting the mark as close as possible.
Well, and there's also there's almost a certain sense of like, hey, we're going to follow. It may not be a full-blown script, but there's certainly some organization as far as like, this is what we're trying to accomplish here, this type of a video. Because I see a lot of videos on TikTok, and I notice that there's reoccurring, almost for lack of a better term, templates. It's like, okay, this person's doing the such and such template on this, and this one's doing the such and such template. And it could be a template based on a certain song, right, in the background, or a certain type of dance, or a certain voiceover, right? And so there's so many of those that are out there, and I'm sure that same thing, if two people are talking to each other, you're going to want some guidance on, here's what you're going to say and here's what you're going to say. So it may not just be, it's not probably always as simple as what it seems like. It's not just as simple as just grab the phone and start, saying something, although those can go viral and those can have big potential. But for businesses, it's probably a little bit more complicated. It's a little bit more complex. And I would imagine you guys are able to lend a whole lot of wisdom in that regard.
Yeah, and again, everybody's different. So we actually specialize in professional TikToks where it's like a professional talking about a process, like, for example, a lawyer, a realtor, mortgage loan officer. And then there's also the contractors where it's showing things, or a small business owner like a restaurant. Again, it's showing a product. So we'll do the videos where we'll show a whole roof getting put on. And that's a TikTok, and it goes viral. We didn't have to have anybody talking it. And with restaurants, food is the thing that sells. It's not so much the people. Getting the right shots for things like if it's a product, there's a certain way to make a video go viral for those too. And again, I wish it was just as simple as filming, something random. And sometimes it is filming something random, but when you're a small business, one of the biggest keys is consistency also. So it's not just, I posted one video, it did really well, and now I'm done for my entire career.
Right.
Like that's all my business needed. No, there needs to be consistency with it. So back in regards to the professionals, I am thoroughly, in many ways, against dancing TikToks. I don't like them. I think they're stupid. They're just not, they're pointless. It's like, if you're trying to hire a realtor, you want a knowledgeable realtor.
Yes.
If you're looking for an attorney, you don't want the attorney who has the best dance on TikTok. You want the one that can win your case.
Right.
So how do we make something like that go viral? Because it can do more damage than good if you don't do it right.
Yes, I agree.
So what we do with the scripting is, with how we compose the videos, it's really tailored to the client, but it's never going to make them look bad. It's never going to do damage. And if somebody insists, oh, hey, I want a dancing TikTok, we're not the company. We're not the company to do that. We don't promote any sort of profession that wants to just be viral for the sake of being viral.
Yeah. So you're conscious and you're aware that, hey, we still need to try to convert this thing, silly as it may be. We need to still be able to convert it to dollars, right? At dollars and cents at the end of the day. So I think that obviously that's huge. And Madeleine, I mean, like, that says so much about you. You're like, you have your boundaries, you have your standards. There's people you can help, and there's people that you can't help, because so many of these little small marketing agencies are like, I'll take anything. Let's go. And you're already pretty much like, no, that's not what we do. We're not about that. And I'm sorry. I'd love to help you as long as you're willing to follow our parameters that we know work. Then we're here for you. But otherwise, best of luck. Best of luck.
There's probably a few people we can refer you to, but it's not gonna. We can't take you.
You're right. Right. The last question, business-wise, that I had for you was, what you've already covered a little bit of this, but just give us a breakdown. Who are you primarily helping? What industries?
Right. So anybody having to do with the home and the real estate industry, number one. So
home service,
mortgage loan officers and realtors, things like that.
Okay.
But things having to do with the home. So like a lot of contractors, people who have to do with plumbing, HVAC, roofing, things that have to do with the home.
Yeah.
And then anything having to do with the profession where they're not used to so many TikToks out there, where we like to be trailblazers. So with some of our clients, there are no TikToks we can refer to as an example to show our client we're the first kind of industry to be on TikTok.
I see.
Either that, or we're the first industry in Texas to be in that TikTok. It's like, okay, well, that company has TikTok accounts, but they're all the way out in California. There are none that are in Texas, and the way we do things in Texas is very different than we do there. So any sort of company that is trying to get some sort of digital presence that isn't out there, that's what we thrive on.
Gotcha.
Because we will be trendsetters in that area, and it's way more beneficial for a client also because there's no competition.
Sure.
They're the first ones of that industry, so any leads that come in through that platform are all theirs.
Got it. Yeah, I love that. That is really cool stuff. Thank you, Madeleine, for sharing so much awesome, amazing information. We're getting close to wrapping up. I just have a couple of final questions, and these are definitely a little bit more, laid back, a little bit lighter hearted stuff. The next question that I had was, what do you do when you're not working? What does your recharge from business time look like? Do you have any hobbies, and who might you spend your non-business time with? Or are you just 24/7 on the clock?
I try not to be 24/7 on. I really have to pull myself away from work. I do like exploring new places. I'm kind of like a food holic. I love new restaurants. So if I'm not working, I'll look up some sort of restaurant I haven't been to before and go there. And, I like going for walks downtown. I'm a downtown kind of person. Any city I visit, I always like being in the downtown area and exploring. And and then to unwind, I'm honestly on TikTok all the time. TikTok's so good about knowing what you like.
Boy, are they crazy.
So I like watching those kinds of videos just to see what's out there. I learn way more about the world watching TikTok than I do, sometimes I'm like, oh wow, I could have gone to TikTok University.
I'm so with you. It's crazy. That little algorithm is crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like I've been blown away at the, the depth of how far it can go into sub niches and subcategories of my interests,
Mm-hmm.
And as a business owner, like I'm certainly on self-employment talk. No question. You know what I mean? So much of the stuff that comes up is tailored to being self-employed. And I think you probably see the same thing. I myself, like you, I'm a foodie, so it'll be like a business video, and then it's like some cooking video right after that, right?
Right.
So it's like it's crazy. It just curves up.
Travel videos, because it's like it takes so much time to travel, and but there's these travel influencers, and they're like, hey, did you know the inside of what this hotel looked like? No, show me. So I'm all about that.
Exactly. That is so awesome. All right. Now this one might rack your brain just a little bit, but this is our final question. This one can go a little bit deep, but let's just say you could go back to the beginning of the process of entering into the marketing world. Okay. And Madeleine today could go and whisper something in the ear of Madeleine then. Besides, I'm going to go ahead and say this, besides the obvious, which is don't involve yourself with a certain person. Aside from maybe that, but then again, you did. There was still good. There's good in her situation
that came out of that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Aside from that, though, maybe what kind of advice would you have given that former Madeleine that was just entering into this world with the experience and knowledge that you have so far?
It's trust your gut. When it comes to employees and clients and how certain things should proceed, it's always a matter of just trust your gut. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. So if you don't know whether you should hire somebody, don't hire them. If you don't feel like you should work with that client, don't work with that client. If somebody's giving you advice and you still don't want to follow that advice, don't follow that advice. So that would have saved me a lot of time figuring out that, I do know that I have a gut feeling for a reason.
Sure.
Because in the end, it was that voice is telling you some sort of truth that you need to listen to.
Love that. Totally love that. Great wisdom, great advice. If we want to learn more about you, if we want to continue to follow your journey, what's the best way to stay in touch with you?
Finding me on Facebook. I'm always there. I'm finding reach out to my personal or my business one on Facebook. You could also find out more info on us through our website, madmediatx.com. And we're pretty much on all the social media platforms also.
Gotcha.
So we're pretty accessible.
Yeah, definitely.
Online.
We will be sure to include some of those links in the show notes so that anyone that listens to this is able to, keep in touch with you. And especially if a business is interested in your high quality services, they'll be able to reach you through there. So thank you again, Madeleine, so much. This has been such a joy talking with you. Your story is amazing. Like I said at the beginning, I'm personally super impressed with your progress and all that you've accomplished. And I think your future is super bright. So keep on getting up out of that bed every morning because the world needs you and needs your services. And you're doing great. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. And that does it, guys, for another episode of Business Innovators Radio. We will catch you here next time.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.